Hello, and somebody just coughed right at the perfect time there. Hello and welcome to a live match reaction here on the Rangers Rabble. God, it feels like, I was saying these before, it feels like about a year since I've last done this. So I'm Martin, and joining me tonight is Cathy, William and Scotty. Here we go, 10 in a row. I'm always going to say that, by the way. It's absolutely brilliant. Obviously, Rangers 4, Cove 0, Scottish Cup. Great first half, second half was a bit bleh. But anyway, we're through and we shall face you-know-who in the fourth round. Before we start though, Cammy, I want to pick up on the really kind of serious injury that it looked like. Is it Jamie Mason picked up? That looked like that could have been a career-ending injury.
Aye, looked a shocker. Just obviously, I think he's looks as though he's just got caught in the turf, and it wasn't pretty to watch the replay at all. You know, fingers crossed it's not as bad as it looks, because he certainly didn't move for a good number of minutes. But aye, fingers crossed it's not as bad, and the kid's back before the start of next season.
It's one of those ones where they kind of showed the replay, I think, once or twice, and then obviously he was down for so long, and when they don't show the replay again, that's when you kind of know it's a bad one.
I think a lot of the times you can tell for the player's reaction that he never really moved. I think when the players don't move, they know it's something pretty serious. I think, as Cammy said there, you know, you hope that nobody gets those kind of injuries, really, because at the end of the day, you know, these guys obviously aren't getting paid the highest amount of money at Cove, and that could be something that could miss, you know, a year's worth of football, and it's hard to come back for that kind of thing at that rate. So you just hope the kids are all right. It looks so obviously the Rangers medical staff were helping as well, so I'm sure the club will try their best to help as much as possible before he heads off to hospital and gets everything checked out. And
Scott, I'm not making light of the injury or anything like that, but was he only down for 3 minutes?
No, I think he was down for about 10, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Just curious.
It's bad. You just pick it up on that added time. To be honest, at the end of the game, it could have been 3 minutes. It could have been 10 minutes added time. To be honest, the game was done. There's 0 point added time. If they're going to reduce it from 7 minutes to 10 minutes, they might as well just not play it.
I don't
understand that.
As I said to Martin before we went on, as somebody who had backed Rangers minus 4 goals, 3 minutes of injury time was not what I was looking for. I was looking for 10 minutes of injury time to get that goal. So no regards at all to Kevin Clancy.
But see, that's actually. Do you know what? I never thought of that, William. You know, people obviously, because I'm not a gambler. I don't bet. I never bet. I'm one of the most unluckiest people in the world. Just look at the face. But people that had bets and all that on, it only had 3 minutes on at the end of the game. It was pretty strange.
Yeah, look, I mean, the boy was certainly down for more than 3 minutes. I mean, that was the minimum that it was probably 4, maybe 5. But then you've also got the substitutes that have come on out with that, which apparently they tell you is between 30 and 45 seconds for a substitute. Mm-hmm. So I think, you know, let's be honest about it, the referee and the assistant, well, whatever it is, the fourth official these days, whatever they want to call them, have basically agreed that, look, we'll just play 3 minutes, let's get this game done, it's already over. But that's not right. I mean, that isn't really how it should be. But, you know, when you seen the 3 minutes go up, you knew the boy had definitely been down for longer than that.
I know. Right, obviously the podcast is live on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. So all the usual palaver. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. You know what I mean? Just do it. Please. There we go. That's my advertisement done for the night. Actually, do you know what? If you're watching on YouTube, do hit that like and subscribe button, but also get your comments in as well, and Facebook and Twitter. Get all your comments in, because I was going to start with, before we started, the changes and stuff like that, but I'm going to dive straight into the first comment, Scott. For our very own Wilf Marshall, is anyone worried about the amount of missed chances we had tonight? Now, I suppose if it wasn't so much a rotated squad, would you have been a bit more worried, or the fact that, you know, it was a kind of heavily rotated squad that hadn't played for 2 weeks?
No, I don't think it really makes any difference. I think the players would be disappointed they didn't score more. We should have had 6 in the first half hour. We're only 3-0 up. It is always really nice to see the team rack up a big scoreline. But at the end of the day, in games like this, it really doesn't actually matter. It only, I suppose, matters for a player's goal bonus, or if they just want to rack up a few numbers. But at the end of the day, the 4-0, the 10-0, the 15-0, whatever it could have been, it's still a win. And they'll still probably look at themselves and go, oh, well, it wasn't, no disrespect to Cove Rangers, but they're a League One side. So I don't think they'll read too much into it. Yeah, of course, they'll be disappointed. I'm disappointed they didn't score. I thought they had more than enough chances, but I'd actually chalk it down to probably being a little bit more relaxed or complacent. I'd just put it down to complacency in the finishing. That's all, because I think they just knew that more would come, more would keep coming, and they did. But how many chances have you seen Defoe miss from 6 yards in his whole career? And he missed probably more today than he ever will do again. So I mean, don't worry about it.
Can I just ask the people in the comments, can you try and keep your comments in the order of the game? Because they're all fantastic comments, and I want to come to them, but I want to try and keep a bit of structure to this. I
can't believe this.
Professional as I can.
I've just had a look at the comments, right? You said get your comments in. We've had like 100 in 30 seconds.
No, I know, but I wanted to try and keep some structure. But do you know what? See, because it's our first night back after a 2-week break, stuff for structure.
We've never had any structure in the first place. Why are you trying to implement one now?
That's true. I know. I don't know why I came up with that name. I blame my missus. Cammy Barry, Cowie. Right, a starter now. It's very. Listen, we have to also caveat that by saying that it was Cove Rangers, League One, decent team, but again, League One. Probably a little bit better than Falkirk Reserves, but still League One. So, did you see enough enough positives from him tonight?
100%. I mean, I think he's had 5-6 cameos since he signed. He's looked positive every opportunity that he's had. Great to see him getting a start. I thought he was picking up lots of great positions. I think he's going to be a very, very good player for us. As regards to a starter, I think he's making a case for himself as a starter, but we've got so many options on that right hand side of the front three. As you're saying, it's probably Kent, Morelos, and then you could have Hadji, you could have Wright, you could have Aribo, you could have Roof. It's I think it's great to see guys like that coming in and applying pressure. I think going back to Wilf's comment about missing chances, I'd be more worried if we weren't creating chances, to be honest with you. I think the Slavia Prague game, even the game at their place when Morelos scored, we didn't create a great number of chances. But I thought that what I hoped was the international break would recharge the batteries and get a bit of bounce back into the way that we play and we're popping it about. And tonight, as Scotty said, it'd been great to score 10, but I was more encouraged by the way that we played. Scott Wright, he'll get plenty of starts between now and the end of the season. I don't think I would start him in the next round. Just personal opinion. I would still favour Roof or Hadji on that right-sided position.
Fair point. We will come to that draw very soon. I'm just looking at this comment for Wolf. It's your job to sort the comments into order, Martin. Wolf, I make this look extremely easy, but believe me, it's rather quite difficult. William, your thoughts then on Scott Wright? Again, I hate it when you need to say this, but you need to caveat it. It's Cove Rangers, but again, did you see enough for him that maybe you would start him in the next game?
I don't really look at who they're playing against. I watch how the player performs. It doesn't matter if it's against Celtic or it's against Cove Rangers. It's like the impact that he's making. And every time he's come on the pitch, he's made an impact. And that's what the manager's looking for. And tonight, I thought he was probably our best player. I thought when he got the ball, he looked dangerous. I think it was a wee bit in the second half with him and Nathan Patterson. That was really good play. And I think it's important for Scott that obviously since coming in until the end of the season, try to get as many minutes as possible, because the reality is most people will judge Scott Wright at the start of next season because he's been given the time to come in to get used to how we play, because we play a totally different way to Aberdeen, clearly. And you can see, I mean, I think it was somebody was saying he's put on like 6 or 7 kilos since he's came from Aberdeen. So Rangers are obviously working hard behind, the scenes with all the specialists to make sure that he's going to be in perfect shape come next summer. And that's important. So these games, for all you want to see him doing well and perform, we're just getting to see wee glimpses of what he's going to offer us next season, where I think he's going to be a bit like what Cammy said. I think he's going to be a really good player for us. He wasn't really somebody that I'd ever picked out, maybe due to the fact I don't watch that many Aberdeen games, but you can see the talents there, and he's got that wee burst of speed over a short distance. I think maybe just the one thing you would maybe like to see more from him is maybe shooting more, because that's one of the criticisms we've had of all our wide players probably in the last 15, 20 years. We would like to see more goals for our wide men, but I guess we'll never be happy. We will always want more, whether it's assists, goals, creating chances. But, as long as Scott keeps performing the way he is, then he will get his chances under the manager, no doubt about it.
I know, and Scott, are you trying to make this Rangers Rabble after dark? Because your background's looking suspiciously dark there, by the way.
Cursed on my meter, so I'm not going to put anything in the lecky, so yeah.
But
it's
Scott,
very dark.
CGM's put Wright was good, but final ball and shooting should be better. Not will be better. Should be better. Do you agree?
Yeah. Took the words right out of my mouth, to be honest. I'm really encouraged by. I think people are going to naturally probably draw comparisons to Kent because they both seem traditional wide men. But what Scott Wright does, he loves to get the ball into his feet, spin, and try and get to the byline. And he did that so many times. And it's the cliched low block. How do you beat it? Well, you beat it by, having men who have the ability to shoot at the edge of the area, just like having all the different types of variety of play. And that's something that Ryan Kent doesn't. He can do it, but he doesn't like to do it. So he likes to actually have the ball and face the goal. He doesn't like getting to a point where it kind of narrows his options. But I did notice that when Scott Wright does that, it gets to the byline, his final ball wasn't exactly the best. And I noticed that a couple of times when Aberdeen play Rangers, he's always looked a threat. He always gave Barisic a bit of trouble. But then his final ball let him down. And, when you come to a club like Rangers, that's the benefit, because we've got the better coaches. We've got the better players around him that perhaps can mask that slightly. So I think he'll get better, and he's got plenty of time to do so. But interestingly enough, is he a starter? I can see it. I can actually genuinely see it. I can, because of how different he is to Kent, having Kent, Morelos and Wright on the pitch at the same time, it's actually quite exciting when I think about it. That's no disrespect to Hadji or Aribo, but Wright is someone completely different as well. It's just I can see it. I mean, not necessarily regular, but
well, actually, on that point you make, Andy Dees wrote, Aribo and Hadji are not as good on the right as Wright. That's never going to be easy to say, in my opinion. They don't have the turn of pace and endeavour you need to play on the wings. So, with that said, Cammy, just looking slightly ahead, obviously, to the fourth round against them. The last couple of games, it's fair to say that maybe in the overall play, they've maybe had the better of it. I think that's probably fair to say. Would a Scott Wright on that right-hand side with a bit of pace and a bit of direct play, would that not maybe benefit us a bit more than having an Aribo or a Hadji out in the right?
Possibly, but Roof would be my player on the right, so it's I can see where you're coming from with regard to it. I think they've got their two fullbacks aren't the best defensively, so I think Scott Wright could cause a lot of problems against that wee girl that plays at left back for them. So I think there's an opportunity there. But really, it's brilliant to have so many options. I think the cup tie, it's going to be there's no replays. It's win on the day. It'll be interesting. Is Tav going to be back in a couple of weeks' time? Is Nathan Patterson's hearing going to be heard? You know, there's a lot to happen between now and then. But I think Scott Wright certainly he could cause them a lot of problems with his pace in behind. No doubt about that.
Right, well, actually going into the game, William, the one thing I noticed was Defoe starting instead of Itten. I thought Itten might have got the nod. But anyways, Defoe gets a nod in with Diano. He scores a cracking first goal.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't really expect that for Defoe. You see so many of his goals for inside the 18-yard box. It's not very often you'll see him score that type of goal. But I think it all came about again because we were pressing really hard in that first half in particular. It was obviously Kamara fed in Defoe, and it was a hell of a strike, 25 yards, and the goalkeeper really didn't react to it. And I think that's the thing about Defoe, right? I don't think anybody expects the guy to play, 25, 30 games a season. We've used him sparingly this year, but pretty much every time he's played, he's either scored or created a goal. But I guess the decision for the manager tonight is, do you look towards the future with Itten, or does he put in Defoe because he knows he'll do a specific job tonight? And he did the job that, don't get me wrong, I'm sure he would like to have scored a few more because Defoe seems like that kind of guy. But it seemed like me with Itten all year that they're working behind the scenes with it and that they're trying to add things to his game with, a sort of longer term view to what they want to get out of it. And because I think there's a realisation that sooner or later we're going to lose Alfredo and that there's going to have to be somebody to fill his sort of position, maybe in a slightly different way, because clearly Cedric's not the same type of player. But you still need to have options up front. And I don't think sort of Jermain is the long-term solution, clearly, because of his age. So I think maybe tonight's one of those ones where it works for everybody with the amount of games we've got coming up. We've got, Hibs, Celtic, St Johnstone twice, and then Celtic. So we will need to use the squad because clearly not every one of those players is going to play every one of those minutes over the next 3-4 weeks.
No, very true. And Scott, a bit like William says, Defoe, kind of known for, penalty box striker, but he has scored the odd screaming as well. But he's maybe it's just me because I get a lot of things wrong, right? I do. But he looked a lot more aggressive tonight. He looked angry.
Yeah, he did. I noticed that. I think
I was right. Is that what you're saying? I was right.
Don't get ahead of yourself. I said I noticed that. I might have been wrong too. No, I think they all looked quite aggressive. They all looked up for it. I think they came out thinking that Cove would probably, kick him off the ball, niggly tackles, late tackles, that kind of thing, and they were just going to have a bit of dig about him and fight back. I've got absolutely no doubt behind the scenes he's probably champing at the bit, trying to get in the team, trying to play, and I think he was just desperate to be out there and play and contribute. So fair play to him. Interesting what's going to happen over the next couple of months with regards to Defoe. I'm still undecided whether I think he'll stay or not. I'm actually undecided on my opinion on the matter. I suppose if it's one of them things, if it's right for the player and it's right for the club, then I'm all for it. But yeah, just good to have him in about the place for sure.
It is, but the one thing that was a little bit worrying, Cammy, was I think it was kind of no long after the goal, actually. He looked as if he'd picked up a wee niggle. And I think that's probably going to be the worry going forward because like the guys discussed on our pod that got released on Saturday there, he is one of the highest paid players at the club. And I don't think you can afford to have one of your highest paid players not selected for the Europa League squad because he can't. And every time he's played, there's always that worry that he's going to pick up a wee injury.
I mean, I must admit, as soon as the ball hit the back of the net, I actually thought he had got injured in the shot. Sort of situation. I don't know. I thought he'd maybe just popped a calf or something like that. Listen, he's in brilliant condition for a guy his age. He's looked after himself, but I think he is susceptible to muscular injuries. I'm very much like Scotty. Listen, he's a great pro. He's brilliant about the dressing room. I think Morelos particularly will have learned a heck of a lot off him. I'm not sure if we can justify that. I don't think say circa 20 grand, 25 grand a week or whatever he's on, I don't think that's enough. Just being a good pro and good round the dressing room. I think we can use the money from that to give Morelos an extended contract. The money to allow us to keep Taven Golson. So, but listen, I like Defoe. He's been a favourite of mine throughout his whole career. Great goal scorer. Always plays with a smile on his face. Apart from tonight when he was channeling his inner Morelos at times.
Well, Cammy, just on that, CGM's wrote in pay as you play deal or nothing for Defoe next season. Would you even do the kind of pay as you? Would you be happy with the pay as you play kind of offer?
I think it's about OTT.
I don't think in this day and age, I don't think that really happens. To be perfectly honest with you, I think Defoe's probably earned a right few quid throughout his career. I don't think he'll be with us next season. That's just my gut instinct. I think the next 3 or 4 weeks, I think will be. I think we'll know before the last game of the season. I don't think it'll be one of these things that you'll find out after the season has finished. That he's, I think it'll be made clear that he's signing an extension or he's moving on to. But he said himself he wants to keep playing. It's he might want to go elsewhere and think he'll get more football.
He might. But just after the goal, then, William, before I forget, and I tend to do this quite a lot. I know I tend to do a lot of really negative, stupid things, don't I? Yeah. Should he have had a penalty? The cross in for Wright, he takes the ball. Kind of looks as if he gets cleaned out. Is that a penalty?
Yeah, look, I mean, possibly if it had been another referee, it might have been. But given the type of night that he had, I mean, see the night where you won 4-0 and it was so controlled, I still find it hard to believe that we the two players booked in that first half. I mean, Bassey's wasn't a yellow, and I didn't think Davis's was much of anything either. But this is what, in Scotland, you just don't know at times what to say about the officiating. I mean, to me, on another night, a referee could have pointed to the spot. A lot of our referees would have just said play on. And that's the thing in this country, you just never know. My instinct at the start wasn't a penalty. I mean, that was my gut instinct, it wasn't. But you should never say never in Scottish football because you just really never know, especially with somebody like that who is so inconsistent. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, I think it was the one in the first half where I think that Fivey tried to shoulder charge Golson. And I'm sitting going, but he was the one that tried to take out Golson. Yet because he ends up the ground, he's like, "Oh, that's a free kick to Cove," and you're like, "No, that's no a foul, mate." I don't understand where you've seen that, but look, it's crazy. So you can debate so many things within games when you watch them back and when you see the replays. But yeah, look, I think on the night, Jermain will be disappointed that he's not took a couple more of his chances. But no, I didn't think it was a penalty.
So, William, what you're trying to say is Kevin Clancy's utterly hopeless.
Yeah, look, and I don't think I've ever said that he isn't hopeless. I think when it comes to it, he probably is right up there as the worst country.
Nah,
how is he a top level official? I'm scratching my head. I'm thinking he must have some incriminating evidence or something. He's blackmailing someone. He's bribing himself to get into this position because there's absolutely no way he should be paid to hold these opinions on a football pitch of what isn't a foul and what isn't deemed a yellow card. For what it's worth, obviously you got the Bassey one spectacularly wrong. I think the Davis one was absolutely stupid from Davis, and you never really want to book Stephen Davis because he just seems like a nice guy and he probably didn't actually mean it. But at the end of the day, he stuck his leg out and the boy was away. But I think as far as not booking anyone else for that horrific challenge on Helander right in the halftime whistle, and he's completely ignored it. He wasn't even going to give the free kick. I know. Utterly mental.
I know, mental.
And,
but saying that,
and he's got like one of these really pathetic faces because his eyebrows always like point up. It's like, what's wrong with you? What's going through your head?
Obviously, when the second half and that came in, all the kind of dodgy decisions died down because not a lot happened, Cammy. But should Defoe have been sent off for the kick out?
No, not for me.
Nobody seen the kick out. Did I just see these things and they never actually happened?
I don't remember that either, mate, I've got to be honest.
Martin, if Defoe's even thought about kicking out, Kevin Clancy's sending him off. So
I looked as if he had a wee kick out. That was all. I thought I'd seen it, Cammy, but obviously I'm wrong.
If he has kicked out and it had been Alfredo, whether he's kicked out or not, he would have sent him off. You know, because he was missing his. He's got a hate relationship with Morelos. You know, but no, it wasn't a red card.
I would think he was ready to book Morelos for throwing the stuff at Tav.
I think if he'd probably seen it, he would have booked him.
I don't know if anybody.
But see, the problem you've got is, right, if Cetus Davis gets booked tonight, right, and if he gets booked in the Celtic game, he then misses the next round, which, like, to me, when you look at like some of the tackles in that match, I'm not going to start saying, the referee should do this and that, but it's just a level of consistency, and it's something that you go on about a lot, and I'm sure the managers must get frustrated by it, because on another night, like he walks off that pitch having booked nobody, or he could have walked off the pitch having booked 5 or 6 guys. But like you could watch that game back again next week, and he might not give the same decisions again. And I think that's really frustrating me. I don't know how many people seen like the Brian Rice reaction, the Hamilton manager. See, for a guy that's usually reasonably placid to come out and have that kind of reaction to a refereeing performance, that should be a worry.
Aye,
because it's not just. See, like it shouldn't just be highlighted when it's Rangers and Celtic. I mean, this is about everybody. This is about teams in League One, in the Championship, etc. It's not just about Rangers and Celtic. So see when you see other managers coming out absolutely lambasting the standard of officiating in this country, it's time they did something about it. I mean, I know up here, obviously, we don't have the same finances as many other countries in the world, but surely we can improve on what we've got. And there's too many things getting missed within games that the referee should be seeing. I mean, some of the stuff for Clancy tonight is within his radius of 5 or 10 yards, where it shouldn't even be a difficult decision to make it, and yet he'll allow play to go on, or he'll stop the play for a nonsense thing. And you just feel like saying, look, this isn't good enough. But see Brian Rice, he'll probably end up with like a 3-game touchline ban for what he said. But he was only being honest after the match because, straight after the game, you've got a mic stuck in your face and they're saying, well, what did you think of the officiating today? And eventually somebody breaks. Like Gerrard's had it where he broke and he pretty much called out the referee and he's had to go up to the SFA and having to face a charge. And Brian Rice will be exactly the same after what he said, which is crazy. You should be allowed to voice your opinion on the officiating because at the end of the day, if a player has a really poor performance, supporters are quick to criticise. Why should the manager not be able to come out and say the standard of the officiating was really poor? I don't think it's acceptable, and I think somebody needs to make a decision whether this guy is of this standard of officiating.
I think the issue is, Scott, that we're stuck with it. It's never going to change. The SFA are never in a fast-paced mode to change anything in the league. We're going to be stuck. We're going to be stuck with these refs.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I don't know how we've got to this position. It's like no one wants to do anything about it. They're just happy with the blind rats steering the ship. The old Pals Act, the dinosaurs who have been because they've been in the game for 40, 50 years, that they deserve to stay there. The mentality of them, the short-sightedness, it's deeply frustrating. You don't need to invest millions and millions of pounds into an infrastructure. There's always another way. There's always some things that you can possibly try. Doesn't even have to be a full-scale VAR. Does it even have to be a watered-down VAR? If they can afford hundreds and thousands of pounds to pay chief executives and have compliance officers, then they can actually do something for the referees. And I'm pretty sure there'll be some decent refs in the lower leagues that perhaps should get the chance to be promoted instead of having the same turgid, awful 8 referees that do the circuit. They're terrible. Someone needs to, actually have a look.
Bring back Hugh Dallas. Wolf is pretty ref Cove like a League One side, and I was like a top flight club. It can't be both, and look, I agree with that as well. But however, we shall move on to some more positivity because we did win. So, Cammy, the second goal, obviously, Roof getting onto the shot that was saved by the keeper, but fantastic closing down for Calvin Bassey as well, and it was good to see Calvin have a decent game.
It was good because the last game I think he played was the car crash at St Mirren before Christmas, and it's probably been a long time coming for him to get that out of his system. He's obviously had the COVID situation as well, and I think, listen, he's very raw, and there's a lot of potential there with him, and I like Bassey. I don't think he's the same sort of player as Barisic, but I thought he'd done well tonight and contributed well for that goal, and obviously Roof doing what good strikers do, stick it away.
And then straight after it, Scott, Roof gets another, and you're thinking to yourself, this could be 7 or 8.
It should have been 6-0 at that point. Delighted to see Roof get on the score sheet. I think he's had a tough few weeks. I think he's just always had a niggling injury, and he's never really been able to get back fully up to speed. Somebody always says that I think he's half a yard short, just half a yard short of being someone incredibly dangerous. But I do like him. He has good upper body strength, and he's not afraid to take a shot on. And he's a selfish striker, and you always need selfish strikers in your team.
Definitely. And my favourite goal, William, and I'm pretty sure it'll be your favourite goal as well, because it was the youngster Nathan Patterson. Great reading of the game by young Nathan, and a superb finish, but it was dreadful play by the Cove defenders.
Yeah, it's the old ambulance ball, isn't it? It's the one you can straight across the box, and you're like, yeah, that's a horrific pass. I mean, yeah, again, like the pressing, like sort of Rangers are obviously trying to press high. So like, the one thing you probably shouldn't be doing at that point is playing a ball right across the pitch, because all you're doing is allowing Rangers to press up even higher. And Nathan read it really well. And it was actually more the finish that impressed me. It was like the outside of the foot, just right round the goalie. But look, I think the most impressive thing, especially in the first half, was that the players that the manager put in, like Bassey and Patterson, etc., they come in and showed that they're good players. I mean, Calvin, a bit like what Cammy's saying, he's clearly raw. There's still a fair bit of work to be done with Bassey, but when you think that you only paid a couple of £100,000 and that there's obviously, a degree of trust in there, the fact that they went out and got him for Leicester, they obviously like his attributes, they like the fact that he's aggressive when he does go forward, but he does still have things to work on in his game. But then that's the same for Nathan. It just happens to be that when Nathan's come in, he's probably made a greater impact than what Calvin has. But I mean, that will come with Calvin, but it might be that next season the club maybe foresee that maybe he has to go out on loan to get a regular amount of games to play, because I don't know if coming in once every couple of months is really going to help his development overall. When you look at it next season, you would like to think that he's going to need more minutes on the pitch if he is going to improve.
What did you make, Cammy, Nathan Patterson's performance overall? Because look, Rangers appealed the decision. You can agree with it, disagree with it, whatever. But I thought he came in tonight, and I thought he looked really good. And he's clearly working with Tav, because he's constantly as far up the pitch as he can be. And like Willie said, it was a great finish for his goal.
I'd listen. He's going to be a star for us. I don't think there's any doubt at all about it.
Best Scottish right back right now, Cammy?
Listen, Stephen O'Donnell, you know what I mean? It's like, geez, he peeps. The idea of going to the Euros with that up against Phil Foden or Raheem Sterling or somebody like that, whereas Nathan would be able to put them the other way. But again, would he be allowed to showcase the talents that he's got in a Scotland side managed by the most negative manager in the history of Scottish football? You know, listen, he's doing fantastically well. I don't think he's even played 10 games for us. You know, I mean, what's that? 2 goals in 10 games, you know, I mean, brilliant. And I think he's obviously had the situation that with the COVID, and I think it shows you his character. I think he's got a good family behind him. He seems a good kid, irrespective of that. I would quite happy. Listen, I hope Tav stays, but if Tav wasn't to stay beyond the summer, I would have no qualms at all with Nathan Patterson being our starting right back next season. He's you know, I think he's destined for a very, very good career for club and country.
Do you agree with that, Scott? Because, I mean, we've also got to take into consideration what Cammy said as well. He's only played 7 or 8 games, you know, and we've seen it in the past. People have come in and they've looked good for maybe 5, 6, 7 games, and then it's no work for them. So do we just need to be careful and maybe maintain that sort of enthusiasm that we've got for him just now, and maybe just cool it and go, he's a young player, he's made a couple of mistakes, he's played well, but let's just cool it?
Well, we need him to make the mistakes so he can learn from them. And I think every time you see him play, he does pick up something new and he does learn something. So if you take William's point of he needs to go out and play probably about 40 games next year, that's what really realistically Patterson probably needs, because I think he's got the physique and the fitness where he can actually play that. And he's, you know, the worry is with the young players, they play them too much. The body doesn't really cope with that amount of games because they're still physically growing. But I think Patterson's near enough there. Interestingly enough, well, obviously, I think we're a better side with Tavernier. Just Tavernier is still head and shoulders above Patterson, but that's just because Tav's that good. He's that good at going forward. His timing, his choice, his decision making is top notch. And Patterson's getting there. Patterson's probably more on the conservative side when you compare him to Tav. I would absolutely love them on the pitch at the same time. And to entertain the idea, we're all desperate for a right-sided number 8. I don't think that Tav could be that far away from actually being able to play in that position. I think he's got the energy in the midfield. He's got the drive. And when I compare him to, say, Scotty Arfield, and if we want to touch on his performance, then I don't think it was necessarily the best. I don't think Tav could be... I think Tav could do that job and potentially learn and grow into that position and be something more. So then, if you've got the combination between on that right-hand side, number 8 of Tav and Patterson, I mean that's quite an exciting thing to have, in my opinion.
Aye, well, do you know what? Let's touch on Scotty Arfield, William. Look, I think since he came back for the kind of injury that he had, he's not really looked the same player. But for you tonight, what did you make his performance? Because I don't want to say too much in case, as usual, I'm wrong.
Yeah, look, I mean, Scotty's a good player. I mean, you know, at times this season, Scotty's been at the top of his game and he's been absolutely magnificent. I mean, especially like the early rounds of Europe, I thought Scotty was excellent. And it's his work rate in the middle of the park that always impresses me, you know, and he's a hard worker for the team. Mm-hmm. It's not just about him, like, he does so much hard work for the team. But yeah, you know, like, Scotty's always in the wrong side of 30 now. So I think, like, with the manager's point of view, they're probably trying to pick and choose when he plays. Because I think when you look at the midfield 3 when everybody's fit, it sort of picks itself for me. So I don't necessarily think Scott is picked in our best midfield 3 if you're picking our best. And that's why I think like a night like tonight was maybe a good chance for Scott to impact the game. And he probably didn't have his best game. But I don't think the manager would think twice if he had to play him against Celtic or against Hibs in the coming week. So, because I think he's the sort of player that the manager has great trust in. And he knows that he will show up in these games and he will have an impact. And Scotty is a good player, but yet again, he's probably another one of those ones that Cammy's talking about earlier with Jermain. Do you start looking to the future in the summer, i.e. 1 or 2 new midfielders? And look, where does that leave Scotty in terms of his game time? And these are things that the manager needs to think about come the summer, because you do feel as though that's the one part of the pitch that we will see maybe a wee bit of change in the summer.
Cammy, yourself, your thoughts on Scotty
Listen,
Arfield tonight?
He's one of my favourites. I think in the spell up to Christmas, he was one of our top 3 or 4 players. The injuries definitely hit him. I think he would admit himself his performances haven't been to the same level since he's came back in. I would still start him in my midfield 3 when we play the next round of the Cup, purely because I think that's the best 3 that are available to play at the moment. Davis, Arfield and Kamara. Jack won't be available. Aribo, we've discussed. We know the situation with him off the ball in the middle 3. So I think Scotty might just have to keep playing to almost play himself back into form. You know what I mean? It's like it's one of these situations. I think he's got a year left in his contract. I think you'll find he might not get as many games next season, purely because I think we will recruit in that area. Obviously, we don't know the situation with Ryan Jack. We don't know if Glenn Kamara is going to extend or potentially move on. So I think the middle of the pack will see a couple of signings. But you have to, like William says, we're having to start to plan for Davis coming towards the end of his career. Ryan Jack's coming to the 29, 30, picking up injuries. Arfield 30, 32. So I think we will be looking for some fresh legs in that area in the next year, certainly.
Aye, definitely the midfield's an area that we have to look at. But just finishing up on the game then, Scotty, obviously 4-0 up at half time. I've probably already asked this question, but it's been going for 42 minutes and I'm dying for a smoke. Were you disappointed, Scotty, with the second half? We really should have kicked on, but it was almost like somebody put in the comments it was like a training game.
Yeah, I mean, disappointing because I think I got a bit bored watching it because it was a bit like a training game, and you always want to see Rangers score as many goals as possible, and it's always disappointing when you go through a half of football and you don't watch Rangers score. Am I upset or bothered? Probably not. I don't know what that says about me or the season so far, but I kind of expected it to peter out and complacency to set in, and I think we'll all be feeling a little bit disappointed. I think the players will probably be more disappointed because I think a lot of them will see it as an opportunity missed. Everyone's obsessed with stats, aren't they? Goals, assists, second assist, 400th assist, contribution play, or whatever we want to call it. And they'll miss the opportunity of getting some form of notoriety. But it is what it is. I think just get the game out of the way, get some minutes in the legs, move on to the next one.
Well, actually, we've had a comment in for Aldo. William, he says, I legit fell asleep with about 20 minutes to go. And there you go. Again, but though, is that, like Scott's saying, that disappointment that I think a lot of people expected the game to kind of fizzle out when really we should have looked to just hammer them. And players like Stewart, Scott Wright coming in, really, really, really say to the manager, look, boom, I'm here, look at me.
Look, these games in the Cup are always hit and miss. I mean, I went to a game many moons ago where I think Rangers scored after a minute, and some of the guys who'd walked into the game with me left after 1-0 and just went back to the pub because we'd won after like a minute and a half. I mean, there's a
the good old 60s, Willie.
No, mate. But I mean, in all seriousness, so like, see when that game went 1-0, I think most of us thought that was the game over.
Mm-hmm.
When it goes to 2, I mean, I think it's hard. I think it's hard for the players at times. I think like sort of complacency does set in, and even though the manager at half-time probably asked the players to go out and have another go, and look, we did have a go, and we should have scored another couple of goals minimum, but we didn't. But at the end of the day, I think, as Scott and Cammy have already pointed out, that we've been off for a fortnight now. It was basically a friendly against Celtic. In reality, I mean, that was such a poor game to watch as well. But the players need to realise now this is an important stage of the season. We want to win this cup, and it's going to be hellfire. You know, you're trying to squeeze in league games amongst cup games. It's probably not the best for the lower league clubs. I think we've seen over the weekend that some of the lower league clubs have basically kind of threw the white flag up and says, we're prioritising the league here, guys. No offence to the Scottish Cup. And it's all right for the Premier League clubs. They can get away with it. They can kind of use the squad a wee bit more. But for us, I mean, what's important for us now is the next round of the Cup. I know people will talk about the league wanting to go undefeated, but I want to win the Cup now. I want the double this season. And the next game for us, it's the most important game, is the Celtic game. And we need to go and beat them next, and that's all I care about right now.
Well, and we'll move on, and we'll touch on this very, very quickly, because obviously we'll have a preview.
Can I just say, Mark, I thought the issue, I thought we spoke about it before we came on, I thought we were almost trying to score the perfect goal in the second half. I thought there was overpassing and just trying too many passes, but hey-ho.
I know, definitely. I know my stepdad was watching and he's screaming at the TV, just shoot. But listen, we won 4-0, we got through, no major injuries, happy days. We move on to the next round, Cammy, and that is, of course, against Celtic. What was your thoughts? I actually missed the draw. I was busy doing something, but what was your thoughts when the draw happened and the fourth round tie was against them?
I'd commented in our group message, I just wanted 2 home ties. So we got 2 home ties. Happy with that. Home record has been exemplary this season. Nothing to fear. You know, I think the pitch is looking in good, back into good nick, so we can knock the ball about with a bit more, you know, can move it a bit faster and what have you. You know, so brilliant. Listen, it'd been ideal to win the Scottish Cup, beating them in the final 3-2 with Morelos scoring at the back post. You know, but I'll quite happily knock them out in the fourth round, and we can march on. But it's like William says, winning the cup is massive. You know, winning the league was the main goal for this season, but Rangers can't just stop. Gerrard said it himself. We have to go on, and I think it puts a marker down with regard to going into next season. They're going to end the season with a cup final, 2 trophies. They don't get any excitement or bounce off beating us and then maybe going on and lifting a cup, you know. But if we play like we can, we'll beat them in a couple of weeks' time.
Play like we can, Scotty. We'll beat them. No fear. Were you happy when you seen the draw?
Yeah, I'm always happy.
No, you're not. I actually had a feeling. I thought we'd draw them at home. It's a difficult one. There's always, like, you read social media and there's always people that panic, and they're always. I've seen a couple of comments. If we play like the last couple of times, then we'll get put out. Well, we haven't been beaten by them yet, so if we play like we have the last couple of times, and they play like the way that they have done, we'll still beat them. I hate that analogy. If we play like that against them, then they'll beat us. You don't play like that when you play in an Old Firm, or you play against certain teams and you play differently. So I hate that analogy.
Yeah, but I'm fairly confident, very confident. Home draw, good draw against them. Put them back in their. Well, they're still in their place, aren't they? So just keep going, keep doing what we're doing.
Aye, and Cammy, Andy Cleland says the word you were looking for, Cammy, was knock the ball around with pizzazz.
Love it.
That's what he was saying. Just to finish up then, William, are you confident then against Celtic? Given the last kind of way the last 2 Old Firm games have went, yes, we haven't lost, but we haven't exactly played the greatest.
Well, I think you could also argue that Celtic have probably played their 2 best games against us in quite a while, and they've still not been able to beat us. So I think that's one way of looking at it. I mean, not only for me, see that last league game, I don't know how many people could actually watch that game and take much out of it for either side, if I'm totally honest. I think it was a great game. I think it was one of those games where the league was over. They knew it, we knew it. Whereas in 2 weeks' time, this game means quite a lot to both of us. So, we both want to win it. So to me, it's all about ramping it up ahead of that game. We get the players. We tell the players, look, see this game against Hibs. Let's go out and show a big reaction. Let's go out and beat Hibs. And you can put your name up in the peg for the Celtic game. You can see some of Disney perform. There's other guys here waiting in the wings to come in. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure between the four A's right now, we've got a rough idea of who'll start against Celtic. I would imagine that obviously the Buffalo comes back in, Kent comes back in, etc., etc. Then obviously if Tab's fit, Tab's in, and obviously Barisic will come in, etc. But there is a couple of spots in that team right now that guys are pushing, and Scott Wright is one of those guys who will push to try and get into that team. Because I think we've openly said a few times now, Joe Aribo in a midfield three doesn't work. He doesn't track enough, in my opinion. So would you rather have him wide right, or would you rather have Scott Wright wide right, or would you rather have Hadji? So there is options there, and this is a good thing for the manager looking ahead to that game.
Like CGM says, we've missed Ryan Jack massively in the last two Old Firm games, but also, Cammy, what we have the ability to do is, listen, we've already knocked them for 6 this season. They're all over the place. They're sacking directors of football, they're this and that. They need a total rebuild, but we've got the chance to completely end their season and send them off to paradise with their tail between their legs.
I just probably
where?
I was being sarky there, Scotty.
Probably around about the time season ticket renewals come out, the new Messiah gets appointed. Yes. Make the last 4 weeks of the season as painful as possible. We've still got to get the trophy. We finished the season with a League and Cup double. That has to be the only focus over the next 6 weeks, 7 weeks. It's a mini season. The players are see your key players, your Buffs and your Kents, rested tonight. That'll be 3 weeks between the Celtic game and when we play Hibs. That's a brilliant recharge of the batteries for them, and both players have been in excellent form. So I think the game in a couple of weeks' time is massive, but I think it's about putting down a real marker over the next couple of months.
Last word to you, Scotty, putting down a marker?
Putting down a marker?
Yeah, were you listening to what Cammy said there, or were you sleeping?
Yes, to be honest, I've not woken up since the game. No, he's right. I tried to say it by putting them back in their place, but they're already in their place, aren't they? Yeah. It's just about just hammering down the misery as much as we possibly can. I think the only question is are they going to have someone like Eddie Howe in the dugout or not? And could that make it even funnier? They get the new manager in and he wants to come out straight away, or is he going to be watching in the stands as we do? Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself as well. I'm very much wary that there'll be a recording of me somewhere and it's going to only just serve to come back and bite me on the backside. So
it could be Pedro
asking me these
Cucina,
questions.
I do apologise, Scott. I'll not ask you any difficult questions anymore. Right?
Just don't ask me any questions. Just take the piss out of me for a bit. We'll
just have you on for your good looks. Anyways, gents, that's
why I'm in the dark.
That will do us, because I'm down for a smoke. Cammy, William, Scotty, here we go, 10 in a row. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody watching. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe and hit that like button. Facebook. What do you do on Facebook, Cammy?
What do you like?
Talks to the Rangers, Mars.
I've got no idea about Facebook, and of course Twitter. If you're watching, retweet, throw in your comment or whatever. So I know I need to get much better with Facebook, by the way. But anyways, that shall do us. Thanks everybody for watching, and we shall speak to you again very, very soon.
Yeah.